If you've seen our ongoing Buyer Beware series on sky-high bills at freestanding emergency rooms, if you saw the one about the $2,000 bill for a splinter, perhaps you've thought someone should really stick it to those companies. And they got stuck today. They got stuck good. The stock price of America's largest freestanding ER company plummeted. A company tied to one of the biggest names in medicine in Colorado, UC Health. Here's Chris Vanderveen from our 9 Wants to Know team.
You might not know the name, Adeptus Health, but you almost certainly know the name of its partner in Colorado, UC Health. When it comes to freestanding emergency rooms here, the two are the biggest players, and now one of those players is limping badly.
It's an indication that there are serious problems.
University of Denver business professor Matt Klaus looked over Adeptus's most recent filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission for us. Two things concerned him. First, this line from March 2nd. There is substantial doubt about the company's ability to continue.
That's a telltale sign. Anytime in a financial statement when they use the phrase that there's doubt that we can continue as an ongoing concern, that means that bankruptcy may be coming up.
And two, from its filing just yesterday, Adeptus has hired a chief restructuring officer, not something healthy companies do.
And you don't have somebody as a restructuring officer if everything is going fine.
Adeptus has 49.9% ownership of almost all of UC Health's expanding line of freestanding emergency rooms. Earlier this month,
I felt like I'd been like I've been duped.
We reported on a lawsuit filed against Adeptus on behalf of David Atkinson of Colorado Springs, challenging the massive charges that have become customary in the freestanding ER industry.
In total, over $2,000.
Adeptus's stock price has not fared well as of late. Today, it lost a third of its remaining value, falling below $1.50. Last year at this time, it was closer to 60.
And so there's something going on. Where there's smoke, there's going to be some fire.
Klaus says Adeptus's fate is not sealed, and it could still avoid bankruptcy. But the fate of UC Health's partner is very much uncertain. For Next, this is Chris Vanderveen.
Adeptus is adept at the no comment game. They gave Chris another one of those today. University of Colorado told us this afternoon it is, quote, committed to the long-term success of the facilities that it runs with Adeptus Health, 17 freestanding ERs and 2 hospitals. The Secret Service will soon be making a trip to Aspen, and that is because President Trump's children will soon be making a trip to Aspen for a ski vacation. Law enforcement tells us they'll get in on Saturday, so you might see that black van brigade around town. The town of Meade has 2 new police officers. They are actually Meade's very first police officers. They were sworn in last night. Up until now, the town's had a contract with the Weld County Sheriff's Office, but everybody decided it was time that they went out on their own. So now there's a chief and an officer, just one for now, Chief Mike Maudlin, Officer Ishmael Aldana. The department will not be fully active for a time now. They need to do some training and get used to their new roles. They're hoping to hire 1 more officer as well as a school resource officer if everything goes as planned. They're hoping to bring in a grant to pay for that extra man or woman on the force and bring the department to a total of 5. You know, we here at Next are big fans of finding joy in the little things, like the manhole cover spotted in Aurora by a viewer named Ryan Nix. Saw these on South Smoky Hill Road on Ponderosa Trail. He says they've been like this for more than a year now. That one's my favorite right there. This is as good as where they spray down the middle of the road and they spray it right over the roadkill. The painted ones are in the wrong places. They're turned in the wrong direction. Much love for Public Works. If you ever see something that makes you laugh, send it to us, #HeyNext, or email next@9news.com. So our politics guy, Brandon Ritteman, explained that even if the new bill to put Colorado on daylight saving time all year long had passed, it'd be a long shot for the thing to actually take effect. Well, we can spare you all the wondering. Following Brandon's report here yesterday, that bill died in its first hearing. You say time was not on its side. Neither were the skiing and the trucking industries, and they do carry some weight around Colorado. So we can pretty much promise this fall, you're going to have to fall back. All right, give me the box. That's right, East Coast, sorry about your storm. Your 2 feet of snow in Pennsylvania. We're sorry that New York City didn't get the snow that was predicted because we know how New York City likes to feel important. We're sorry that today's dazzling sunshine in Denver distracted us from your near hurricane force winds in Massachusetts. We're sorry the storm shut down Amtrak. Must be nice, you know, having functional commuter rail most of the time. We're sorry about the 6,000 flight cancellations, especially for anyone planning to fly here and enjoy a weekend in the 70s and 80s. So sorry about all that, East Coast. As the Colorado weather cliche goes, hope you needed the moisture. When you open up that 100-calorie snack, you feel pretty confident that it is 100 calories. You crack that 8% double IPA and assume that it is really 8% alcohol by volume. But when you reach for a pot edible, When your friend reaches for a pot edible, how do you know that the dose is what it says on the label? Pot edible potency is a real issue in Colorado, and it involves, as we learned today, some very real science.
So what we have here is a representation of the lifeline of the cannabis plant into our finished product.
Sean Arnold is making hairnets great again. Required equipment in the kitchen of Lucky Edibles, which turns marijuana plants on one side of the warehouse into mints on the other.
Cultivation from the point that the seed or the clone is planted to the finished product for us is going to be 12 weeks. From the flower down to the finished product, 4 weeks.
The finished product is a little blue pill, not the little blue pill. This is a story about potency, Anyway, see the number 10. That means it's supposed to have 10 milligrams of THC, the part of pot that gets you high. But Colorado law allows edibles' potency level to be off by 15%.
If you have a 10 milligram tablet, you can have an 8.5 milligram dosing or an 11.5 milligram dosing.
In 2014, 9 Wants to Know found out that the public isn't allowed to see if products meet state standards. The lab that tests for the states wouldn't show us the results. So Sean showed us some of his.
We actually hit this one right on the nose. We hit the 5 milligrams on the tablet, and then in this particular one, 100 milligrams for the bottle.
Without getting too technical, they turn the bud into oil, into this refined powder. That gets infused, formulated, and crushed into a mint. The powder gets sent off for testing, and those results, plus a mess load of math and science, dictate the proper size of the mint so it hits the potency mark.
If my powder is a little bit high, I can adjust on the tablet press weight and compression to get that exact target weight.
Sean is so confident in his testing, he says if it's more than 5% off, he won't sell it, but he does give it to his employees.
That's, if you will, a perk of the job.
That and the hairnets in the kitchen, serving up one high at a time. And those attempts to pinpoint pot edible potency is a reason why the edibles can vary in size from batch to batch. So a mint that's the size of a Tic Tac 1 month might be the size of a Gobstopper next month. The fine print on parking signs, hours, days, odd, even, it's usually a pain. But sometimes it's poetic. It's a sign of the group getting creative on Colfax. Photojournalist Mike Grady takes us there.
Her skin is paper thin.
Overlapping leaves make our capital.
Find a new soul to write about.
And you see the sign, and then you have a moment of literature in your life.
Looking for clues.
My name is Dan Manzanares, and I'm the manager of Write Denver. The goal of Write Denver is to get the city writing.
5280.
These fake parking signs that are snippets of poems and excerpts of novels or short stories or memoirs, installing them along the real parking signs along Colfax. We're kind of doing this guerrilla style, I guess you could say.
At first with the blue, I thought it was a city ordinance sign.
This is the first one I've seen, and it's pretty amazing, yeah.
You can read a sign, and it can be this surprising, enjoyable experience.
Like a memory.
When you do stop to look at it and read it, it's beautiful poetry about Colfax Avenue.
Mostly the stories and poems came from our outreach, our adult outreach programs, refugees and new Americans, people with, experiencing homelessness.
Colfax is the stage of our relations. I love that they've empowered a lot of the homeless population, maybe lower income, elderly.
Then we search for a relative.
Some of the other signs are coming from our older adult program, our senior program.
I noticed with my mother, who's a bit older, that she was just talking to me recently, and she said, I've reached the age where people start to ignore me. It does give people a voice. It's wonderful.
There's a real potential to change someone's outlook.
She closes her Bible.
Coral Gymret.
While everyone shares original ghost stories.
To become more imaginative and to hold more mercy for everybody.
I don't have to tell you, spring has sprung early here in Colorado. Compliments of high pressure building in over the area with the jet stream to the north of us, hard pressed to get any moisture in the state in a month where we typically see the most snowfall out of the winter. The big storm, as you know, is in the northeast, and we've been looking ahead to the longer range models. No signs this current pattern will be changing. Close to 70 degrees in Denver today. The average is 54, and we're headed into record territory for the next couple of days. Thankfully, the wind has not been a big player so far, but red flag warnings may be reinstated across eastern Colorado. It is tinder dry out there, as you know. There's a weak front that's separating some really cold air in the Midwest from above average readings in Colorado and the Southwest. And so with a bit of high cloud cover around the area tonight, it will be cloudy and mild with low of about 39. Sun's up at 7:11 tomorrow. Numbers jump quickly. Partly sunny mid-70s, and we have another warm day coming up Thursday. Weak front on Friday may offer a little bit of snow to the northern mountains, so maybe the luck of the Irish with you if you're looking for some fresh snow to ski and steamboat. But close to 80 for Saturday and for Sunday. And the uncommon cloud has been quite common recently. If you catch an iridescent cloud, send that picture in to me and watch for it later tonight on 9 News.
Looks like Boulder County District Attorney Stan Garnett's going to run for State Attorney General. He's filed paperwork, hasn't made a formal announcement. In order to win the statewide race that he lost back in 2010, he'd need to overcome the predicted attack ad tagline of Boulder Liberal.
It did come up occasionally when I ran in 2010, and actually we did pretty well in that race. The reality is what I would bring to the race is a practical, progressive experience in law enforcement and public safety. I've got a proven track record of almost 9 years as district attorney, and I think Boulder has a lot to offer. We particularly have a lot to offer in the areas of public safety and progressive reform of the criminal justice system.
What is your essential critique of the Attorney General's office as it stands today? If you were to run, you may or may not be running against the incumbent Attorney General, Cynthia Kaufman, depending on whether she runs for governor. But how would you assess her performance?
Well, I think there have been a lot of problems with her performance. The Colorado Attorney General's office is one of the most powerful elected positions in the western United States, has an enormous amount of interest and ability, Kyle, to protect the environment, to maintain public safety, and also to protect everybody who lives in Colorado through consumer protection and proactive initiatives. We've had in John Suthers and Cynthia Kaufman, two attorneys general who have not been as proactive as they could be, as I would be, as I think the office should be, in protecting the environment and protecting the people that live in Colorado.
Do you see it as an activist type position?
Well, I think it's a position that requires somebody who's clear about their priorities and knows how they want to accomplish those. That's the kind of attorney general I would be. That's the kind of district attorney I've been. And if people want to call that activist, then yeah, that's activist.
Garnett and I also discussed where he would choose to challenge the Trump administration if he was elected Attorney General. That's in our full discussion on 9news.com, where you can also see yesterday's conversation with State Representative Joe Salazar, another Democrat running for AG. Next, we'll be back with a story from the No Good Deed Goes Unpunished file, the demise of a community's baseball field.
You trying to make me cry? Seriously, this is for the kids in the food bank.
And we declare winners and losers on this Pie Day. Sorry, Colorado Rockies, this kid has you beat bad. It sure looked like the Colorado Rockies had won Pie Day. You know, March 14th, 3.14, the day that everybody trips all over themselves in tribute to pie. The Rockies tweeted the players lined up, number 3, number 14, number 15, number 9, all the way out. And you know this trick fooled at least one TV station in town. But that tribute to 3.14 is 100% photoshopped, not real. Let's celebrate Pie Day with something real, so real. From a second grader at Holstrom Elementary in Thorntontown, laying down an astonishing 125 digits of pi from memory. Hit it, kid.
Hi, this is Taiki, and I'm 7.5 years old. And today I'm going to be doing pi, 125 digits. 3.14, 59, 92, 65, 35, 89, 79, 32, 38, 46, 26, 43, 38, 32, 79, 50, 28, 84, 19, 71, 69, 39, 93, 75, 32, 82, 30, 66, 47, 09, 38. Woo! Bo!
38. Tyke Tukins from Thornton. Well done, my man. Love the little dance at the end. I especially love his dad photobombing him halfway through Pi. Was not distracted as dad moves through. Tyke's mom tells me that he worked really hard with his dad to memorize Pi to win his classroom Pi Day contest, and he wins Pi Day for all Colorado. David Brown created a baseball field for his community, and in doing so, he created a legal mess for himself. His field of nightmares was a pasture on his property where he imagined that neighborhood kids would like to play. They did, but not everyone liked that fact. Our Jordan Chavez explains.
You hear the ting of the bat when they hit the ball. I mean, it's all the things that you've come to expect with baseball.
This is typically the time of year David Brown
It's a ritual now.
is getting ready for his favorite season.
The boys are summer are back.
Except this summer,
I don't know where to go from here.
those boys will have to practice America's game somewhere other than Brown's backyard.
I've got 100% support of everybody I know in the area.
Everybody except the man living across the street.
He had mentioned at one point that, you know, cars on his side of the street and in front of his mailbox, and that was he wasn't happy with.
He also wasn't happy about what happened when the wind would blow. The neighbor who shot this video, Joe Jean, filed a complaint. A court date was set for earlier this month.
It just broke all of our hearts.
A Jefferson County judge ruled the baseball field violated a county ordinance because the field was supposed to be for residential use only, not organized practices.
How could they do that?
Because to Brown, the field means more than baseball.
You trying to make me cry? Seriously, this is for the kids in the food bank.
You see, the kids would use the field, but for a price. All Brown asked was the kids contribute to the local food bank.
Over the last 2 years, according to the Arvada Community Food Bank, we are the single largest donator for a private party to that organization.
And now Brown is left to wonder,
how else can I raise the food and funds?
And if the bases will remain empty this season.
It's going to be very, very, very difficult.
For Next, I'm Jordan Chavez.
Jeffco Zoning says Brown could apply for rezoning or a special use process, which would allow that field to be used for practices, but ultimately the decision would be up to Jeffco commissioners, and Brown tells us he's just not optimistic. All right, what'd you do today? Did you hike 18 miles and go to 4 breweries? Because I know someone who did that. And your spicy feedback next. Colorado thing we saw today was actually spotted by our own man in the mountains, Matt Renew. He snapped the sunset in Silverthorne last night. No stop sign needed. That will stop you in your tracks all by itself. And how fortunate are we that we're coming up on that time of the year when we get some great sunsets. Yesterday, we introduced you to Liz Thomas, my new best friend. She is attempting to hike to every brewery in the city of Denver over the course of 8 days. She's an urban hiker. She started this quest on Sunday. We understand she's right on pace there at Station 26. Hiked 18 miles today, made it to 4 different breweries, and she expects to finish up next Sunday. If you see me disappear for a week, that's what I'm up to. We finished with your feedback. Cameron Laura writes, Kyle, haters gonna hate. Hate, 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 hate. They're probably still watching. I think you might be right, Cameron. Got this note tonight from Nancy Stewart, who wrote, Kyle, you seriously need to get some therapy. Nancy, there's nothing wrong with seeking a little outside help if you're facing a mental health challenge, but I'm good, and I'll be right back here next time.